Hello and welcome back to the audio version of The Cursed Skull of Hallows Creek. The first video was chapters 1 to 3. This one will be 4 and 5. I hope you enjoyed the previous chapters and I hope you enjoy these two just as much. Chapter 4. For a few seconds, I just stared at the emerging blood, frozen in place. Gina had a horrible fear of blood. Why wasn't she freaking out? "Oh my god, Gina, you're bleeding. We better get you out of here and look for a first aid kit," I yelled, hoping Gina would snap out of whatever spell she was in and return to her normal self. I met her eyes again, but instead of being faced with an emotionless Gina, I witnessed tears of blood flowing gracefully down each cheek, her eyes bloodshot all of a sudden. No whimpering sounds or signs of sadness, just blood occupying her high cheekbones. I sprung back as I tried to process the trauma of seeing her in such a plight. So much blood. Why? I couldn't see any injuries, but there was a lot about this scene that just didn't sit right with me. She still didn't respond. "Okay, Gina. Listen closely. I have no idea how to get off Hallows Creek, but this is an emergency. Your eyes are bleeding now as well. Come on. Time to get you out of here and find a hospital," I commanded. I charged towards her, taking no for an answer, and I was willing to drag her out of the cabin, no matter what state she was in. I heard nothing but the clanging of my shoes against the unsteady wooden flooring beneath me. As I placed my hand on her arm, ready to stand her up, she was gone. Thousands of atoms floated in my eye line, dancing around my fingers. Dust, particles, nothing. I roamed that room, searching for her, knowing she couldn't have gotten away so quickly. No, this couldn't be right. People cannot just disappear into thin air. And yet, she did just that. Staggering backwards, and letting my confusion cloud my thoughts, I was suddenly distracted by a maroon-coloured door just past where Gina was sitting. It was definitely fully closed when I came into this cabin. I knew I shouldn't have gone checking things out alone, especially after Gina had literally just disappeared, but I was too curious to leave the cabin without knowing what was going on. My friends were counting on me. I had to do this for them, wherever they were. I forced myself to go through the door into a dark panelled room. There was nothing in there, except a wooden chair with a broken leg and an oak desk. The first thing to hit me was the stench. It wasn't just a normal scent of a damp, abandoned cabin in the woods. It was something more. Something sinister and almost unbearable. I was about to exit the room when my eyes focused on a brown leather book that blended into the floorboards at first glance. Without hesitation, I reached under the desk and retrieved it. Just by the dust and the style of the leather, I could tell the book was over a century old. I opened the book and glared at the first page. A diary from 1850. I couldn't help but read on. The first paragraph said, "What a splendid day it turned out to be. Harrison from the fruit market had no idea. He will eventually become Hallows Creek's first salesman. Little does he know his wife will soon be mine completely. Her whole existence will be in my hands. Sweet little Jane. Jane will be no more." I tried to read on, but the rest of the page had a coffee stain covering the words. Who was Jane? Whoever's diary this was, they sounded dark and dangerous. I scurried in the pages, trying to find answers as to who the diary belonged to, and what all of this was supposed to be telling me. Most of the writing was unreadable, but there was another small paragraph towards the back of the diary that I could make out if I squinted hard enough. It read, "How dare they? Forcing me out of my family home and making me live in this tiny cabin. I am still here. I won't be shoved out of Hallows Creek by anyone. They think they have won, but they haven't. I'll be back worse than they could ever imagine. 25 are already gone, and that is just a start. Say your prayers." I stared at the words in horror. Whatever this person was writing about sounded sinister and aggressive. Most of the cabin seemed bare, and yet this diary was still here, left under the old writing desk. As I went to put the diary back where I found it, I heard it clatter to the ground, after clumsily losing my grip. When I looked at it, I noticed the inscription on the spine. It read, "The Diary of Art B." At first, I didn't make a connection. I racked my brain trying to figure out who those initials belonged to. Then it dawned on me, of course, the one and only Ray Bandello. The man that I believe was made up for a creepy tale on Halloween night in most households. But he was real. I had just held his diary in my hands. The only things I knew of him was his name. He lived in Hallows Creek in the 19th century, and he was a serial killer. I left the book how it fell, and took several steps backwards to head for the door out of the office. As soon as I had the door in my sights, it slammed shut in my face, almost taking me out in the process. Something was telling me I couldn't leave this room. Something was telling me I was at the mercy of Ray Bandello. Chapter 5. The dreams came back into the forefront of my thinking. Every time I had dreamt of Hallows Creek, I woke up wondering why. I had never even been here before, so why was I dreaming of somewhere I'd never been? But when I really concentrated, I remembered where I'd seen this tiny cabin office before. Its pokey airless window and the half-broken floorboards had been stalking my nightmares. Being locked in this room wasn't by chance. There was a reason I was in here. I had no idea where Marcus and Gina were, or if they were even safe, but I had to concentrate on getting out of this room and away from Ray Bandello. Wait, why was I falling for this? I couldn't possibly believe that a serial killer from nearly 200 years ago had come back as a ghost and locked me in his office. What was I thinking? The door slamming shut like that was obviously just the wind getting in somehow. It wasn't locked. It had just blown shut. All I needed to do was push it and get out of here. I had to stop imagining the worst. This wasn't a supernatural encounter. It was to be expected from an abandoned village. The school was just a silly trick, and in a few hours, I would be at home, laughing about this with my family and friends. Okay, time to get out of here. I strutted over to the door and pulled the handle as hard as I could. It didn't budge. Don't panic. There has to be a way out of this room. I let my eyes wander around, searching for a simple solution, but all I was met with was the same table and chair. What the hell? That floorboard wasn't up like that when I came in. The miasma got even stronger. It began to cling to the back of my throat and burn, making me gag. When I dared to peer over the half-open floorboard, my eyes almost melted into my eye sockets. I would never forget the deep sting from my eyes watering, and my mind trying to reject another horrific sight. Bodies, all laid perfectly next to one another, limbs missing, eyes bulging, pasty white skin. The smell of multiple fresh corpses. Was this where he buried his victims, right under his cabin? But he was alive 200 years ago. These bodies were recent. The engraved tree spun around in my mind, once again, mixed with the rumours of the curse. Could it be true? If it was, why did the Victorian killer want me to see the bodies? Then it hit me. This was a warning. These poor people also saw the cursed skull before they perished. I had to get out of here. The desperation was insufferable. I could only keep calm for so long before I would lose myself and overthink every little thing. My thoughts were brought to a halt when the cries of a distressed man suffocated my senses. It had a vicious echo to its tone, and a feeling of sorrow washed over me. Where was it coming from? Or was it just another trick? I edged towards the door to get a closer listen, but as I leant against it, the door creaked open. How? It was definitely locked before. My thoughts began to crash into one another, and the crying got louder and louder until it turned into sickening laughter. I felt as though every single wall in the cabin was closing in on me, judging me, trying to squash the life out of me. The noise from the laughter squealed and vibrated my eardrums until I ran past every door in the cabin and finally found the front door. At last. Fresh, crisp air. The panic began to subside the moment I realised I wouldn't be locked in that tiny office with dead bodies. So much went through my head at once, but the will to get out of Hallows Creek was as strong as ever. I let the adrenaline from my panic fuel me to run as fast as I could, in the direction I hoped was the way out. I ran past plenty of trees that almost looked exactly the same. Maybe this was it. Maybe I was on the way out of here. Perhaps when I got out, I would find out that my friends were already home and safe, and this whole thing would be over. I stopped running when I was thrown into someone running towards me. I looked up, ready to apologise, and realised who it was. Marcus? You're safe. Come on, we have to get out of here. I caught my speech and didn't let it escape my tongue. He was panting, as though he had either been running for an hour, or he was in shock. Then I noticed it. The glistening red stains on his hands. The fear and regret reflecting from his eyes. I knew him. Perhaps he had been through something similar to me. But I wasn't covered in damp blood. When I observed for a few seconds, I saw a small axe in his hands, his fingers shaking around the handle. What had he done? I'm sorry, I had to. I had no choice but to kill her. Thank you for watching this video for chapters 4 and 5. I hope you enjoyed these and the ones before. No more audio chapters will be uploaded now for several months for the Cursed Skull of Hallows Creek. So if you'd like the chapters quicker, please use the link in the comments section to sign up to my author mailing list. All subscribers will get the next 5 chapters by Halloween 2025. If you do prefer the audio version, please stand by and I will update you when I can. You may want to sign up to my author newsletter just to keep up to date with me and my work, but you will also receive other freebies such as short stories, The Cursed Skull of Hallows Creek, the digital version, and also there is a Christmas one coming up for 2025, named On One Ghastly Christmas Eve, which will be sent to subscribers on Christmas Eve. Thank you so much for all your support. Please like and share this or comment, and please sign up to my author newsletter if you love freebies and you want to know more about the books I write. Thank you again for watching.